He's going to the ALCS for the second consecutive season. John Gibbons joins Stephen Brunt and myself on the Jeff Blair Show. Good morning and congratulations.
Good morning, man. Two of my favorite guys right here.
Really? Barker's not here. Oh, I get it. You mean Brunt and myself. Oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly what I meant.
There's so many things to talk about after last night's game, John. I mean, the first question I want to ask you is: you talked an awful lot in the post game about the importance of Josh and Russ to this team, and just how this team was tougher now than maybe it had been, a couple of years ago. And of course, bringing Tulo in also had something to do with that. Try to convince me though that it's more than just a cliche. That toughness really does count in baseball.
Well, Jeff, it really does. And, I mean, the two guys you're talking about, even Tulo, really all three of them, they go out there every day, and they're beat up. They're not young spring chickens anymore. They've all had various injuries, but they keep showing up and playing. There's something to be said for that. Now, do they play every day? Of course not. But when things start counting, they will themselves to play. It doesn't mean you're always going to get great results, but they show up, they're out there, and they're the kind of players people want to see anyway. So they're expected to be out there a lot of times. But they did. They brought some toughness to us. It was a clear. I really noticed kind of the change in attitude, and it seemed the focus really started turning towards winning. The things coming out of their mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of this way they went about playing a game, and these were just spring training games when we first witnessed it, and so I think that was needed here, and of course they're the top players at their positions in baseball, so that always helps, no doubt. But mindset's a big part of this, and I think we really, I've been here a while, but I think you maybe even go further back than my first go around here, and I think maybe that's just something we needed.
John, I want to ask you about another tough guy. Before the game last night, you made it pretty clear that you did not want to use Roberto Osuna for 2 innings last night. I forget the word you used, but you said essentially that it would be a big ask or maybe an unfair ask of the kid to send him out there for another 2 innings. What's the conversation after he pitches that first inning? What's the conversation with you and Pete and I guess Roberto about and making the decision to send him out for another inning?
Well, Steve, if that first inning hadn't been so easy for him, I don't know how many pitches he threw. I think, it was 8, 9, 10 maybe, something like that. Yeah. It was real low. If he'd gotten into the teens, we couldn't have done it. I would have, I don't feel we could have. But we went over and checked on him because it was so easy, and that was one of the games. Let's see. If you can win this game, obviously, you move on, you get some time off. But it was a gamble too, because if we don't end up winning that, he goes 2 innings. There might be a chance he can't even pitch today, and that would have been kind of disastrous. But it was really the roll of the dice, the fact that he didn't throw that many, but we still have to keep an eye on him because he had that issue 10 days ago. But after talking with him personally, if I didn't feel good about it, there's no way in hell I'd throw him out there. But sometimes you have to think for these guys, but over time, you get a pretty good idea, who's leveling with you and who's not. And I think, he felt that good.
If that game keeps going, John, what's your kind of emergency plan? You had to pair up, I know, but, is there a point?
Yeah,
where you're looking at.
He was next in line.
Okay.
We'd run him for an inning or two, and then be conscious. We had Luke down there, so conscious of when their lefties are coming up and that. And then, we added Barnes. And then we had Feldman. That was really it. It was too early in the series really to have one of your original 2 starters go because they had just pitched. So really, that's what it was coming down to.
John, I made the point earlier in the show that when people talk about Josh Donaldson, they talk about a lot of people. I think of home runs, I think of offense and all that. But I mean, when I think of him, I think of the guy making the barehanded catch. I think of the head first slides. I think of all the other things Josh Donaldson does. Do people understand, people being us in the media or fans, John, do we just understand what this guy is playing through right now?
Well, you know what? I'm not sure. We I mean, there's some things that go on, and we can't come out and say everything that
Mm-hmm.
when guys are banged up. And I mean, keep it general, but he is really banged up. I was watching him the other day before that first game down in Texas, and watching his BP, and I mean, he was having a hard time swinging, and he told me his hip was really bothering him. His lower back and his legs, and I mean, it didn't look good. And then, of course, when he goes out and gets on base 5 times, it's a couple doubles, and so I mean, he is. I've been around in baseball a while now, and had so many players as teammates, and then as a coach and manager, and he's in a select group, and I'm not just talking talent wise, but a mentality for me that. I mean, he's a different bird too. I'll leave it at that. But I mean, he ticks different than most. But he's in that special category for me. The guys that I've had contact with in this game. That I mean, he feels it's his obligation. He's getting paid a lot of money, but it's his obligation to his team and the fans to go out there and play. And he's driven to be the best at whatever he does. And part of that means you go out there. Well, it doesn't matter how you're feeling, because he's driven to, be the most productive third baseman or be the best defensive third baseman and things like that. So there's a lot more to him than just meets the eye. But he's a special guy, and he can beat you so many ways. We've seen him with his base running. Of course, last night. Some of the great plays, barehanded plays. Really, you look back the last couple of weeks, he pulled some big ones out of the bag, and then. He's not just a slugger. He'll use the whole field. He'll take a cheap little single the other way if that's what's required. More so than a lot of guys will.
John, you got some strong personalities on this team. Josh Donaldson's one of them. Kind of strong, edgy personalities. This team's been together 7 or 8 months now. It's baseball's different. How do you keep that? How do you keep that as a positive rather than a negative for this group? Those kind of intense personalities.
Well, you know what, Steven? When you're winning, and we pulled them all together last year at the trade deadline. Most of them were here, but then we added some more guys, similar, some of the better players in baseball. So this group was really all together for a few months at the end of last year, and then all year this year. So and it's been, while they've been together, it's basically been winning. We've been winning, and with a group like this, that is so important, and so they really come together. They enjoy each other, but there are some big personalities but my approach, I let them do their things, do their thing. They're focused on the right thing, but you got to let them have fun, enjoy themselves, and go about their business a lot of the way they do it, because a lot of them have earned that. But every now and then you got to pin somebody's ear back just to, hey, let's not get carried away with this or that. But it really haven't needed to do that too often with this group, because they're a very focused group and some big personalities, yet some the marquee players in the game.
John, we really appreciate you doing this morning. Again, congratulations, and we'll look forward to talking to you later this week.
All right, boys, my pleasure. Hey, I wouldn't get up this early after last night for just anybody.
I realize that.
Thanks, John.
Take care.
All right.